Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now this week's video is another one in the vintage and classic cameras from the past. It's about a camera that was made in the UK in North London around about 1959 to 1960. A company that was primarily known for making film. A company where you couldn't walk down any street in the world without seeing that famous Kodak sign, that's where you could buy your film. And that company was Kodak. They built this factory in London to produce film, but on occasions they did make film cameras. And Kodak did that quite a lot. They made, not in London, just in London, but in the USA, they made large format cameras. They made medium format cameras like this, number 1A folding pocket Kodak. Lovely old camera, beautiful old camera, really delicate camera this. And I've taken pictures with it. You guys have seen the images that I've taken with it. It still works, built in the early 1900s. And then we have the vest pocket camera, the soldier's camera as they called it at the time. Again, you've seen me take pictures with this. It still works. My first camera that I ever used was a Kodak 127 Browner. Takes the shutter's still working, and I would imagine it still takes some good, decent images. It creates big negatives on this. So there wasn't shy in making cameras, and in London around about say 1959, 1960, they made this camera, the Kodak Colorsnap 35mm camera, and this is what this video is about. Now, I look at photography a little bit different. I have done as I've got older. That when you're into film photography, it's all about sometimes being serious with it, going out with your large format cameras, etc. But also it's all about having fun. And some of these old cameras like this are so cheap that they, it's not a risk really to buy them. I paid £10 for this. Now, if I'd got it and it didn't work, well, it's just over the price of a roll of film these days. But chances are that they will work because they're really well made. And by doing that, you have fun taking pictures with these old cameras, costing you virtually nothing, and you will get a different look. So I think it's well worth buying these old cameras and giving them a go, because this is a 35mm camera. We can still get 35mm film in all speeds and colour, black and white, etc. It's a film that's never gone out of production. So in this video I'm going to hopefully get out, take some pictures with this camera and see how we go on. I'm going to show you how it works. It's very simple how it works. It's very clever actually, and I'll actually show you what I got for my £10. And I've been looking on eBay. You can pick these up for £10, just a camera on its own, but you can pick up what I call a kit that I got for around about £25–30, and I'll show you that now, and I'll show you how this camera works. And once we've done that, we'll go out and take some pictures, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get some different looking images from this old Aniston lens. Right, this is what I got for my £10. Now keep in mind, from a collector's point of view, having all the original boxes, the original instructions, etc., does make a big difference, because we've got all this history with the camera. So I'm really pleased to have got this, and especially just for a £10. But I'll just show you what I did get. I got the flash bulbs, Wotan, Philips, and there's this one, Sylvania. Not all these boxes are full, but there is some flash bulbs. Although I don't think I'll try it on this camera. I could end up blowing myself up. It came with the flash gun. It's the Brownie flash gun, flash holder. It has a dome on it. I don't know if that's to do with colour temperature, and that's where you put your flash. So it came with that. I'll show you how it connects to the camera in a minute. It also came with a haze filter in its original case, with instructions, again, very important. And that should, I would imagine, slip onto the camera lens. We'll see if it does that in a minute. It came with a yellow filter in its own packaging. A bit different to the filters that we get nowadays. See that there? And that filter is used in conjunction with what's in this box. It's a filter holder, comes in its own case. Open that up, and we've got the filter holder, and that connects to the camera by pressing those two levers, putting it over the lens, and it's held on the exterior of the lens. To fit the filter, you pull that top bit off like that. That pulls off there, and then drop the yellow filter in place, and then put the cover back on, the holder back on, and that also acts as a lens hood. Very well made. I don't think they make things like this nowadays. And then we've got the camera itself in its original box. Just zoom in a little bit. We'll have a close look at the camera in a minute, but comes in its original box with the camera all in great condition. As I say, we'll have a close look at that in a minute. And as I said before, you know, as a collector, it's important that the camera, if you can get them, comes with all this stuff, you know, the actual instruction manual of this camera, still in its cellophane package. It's come with these little leaflets. It all adds interest to the camera. Still more pleasure from your transparencies. This is another one, Kodak colour transparencies. They're really trying to sell that. It's even got the, I forgot what they call this, to stop the any condensation. It absorbs the moisture in the box. So, I'm very pleased for what I got for the £10, and let's have a closer look at the camera and see how it works. Right, let's take a lot closer look at the camera and how it works. When you buy one of these, the first thing you'll notice is how well built they feel. It's not a light camera, it's not too heavy, but it's all metal, and all the dials, etc., run very, very smoothly on this camera. You'll be really surprised how it works, and that focusing is super smooth. So don't be surprised when you get it. It's a really well built camera. The first thing I'm going to show you how the flash attaches. As I said before, not that I'm going to use one, but it's nice to have. You put your bulb into there. Now you put that dome on that I showed you previously, or not, it's up to you. And it attaches to the camera via the brownie pin at the bottom there, and then it screws into a screw thread. I'll attempt to do that on the camera, see how we go on. So it goes into that hole there, and then it screws on. Not easy one-handed this. It's screwing on now. So that's screwed on. It looks a nice bit of kit, does that. Now obviously when you wind down, press the shutter, the flash will fire. Then you have to change the actual bulb itself. The only thing with it is that you have to have a battery installed. And if I undo this little latch there, the fit and finish is superb. You'll see that it's fitted with a battery. A little bit of paper fell out. Again, it's great. A little bit more history. New battery, March 1984. So that's when this battery was actually fitted. It's a ever-ready battery, a B155. I'm not going to take it out because I'm not going to disturb it. There's no corrosion from the battery. It's just as it is. But I will not use a flash, as I say, but it's very nice to have that. So take the flash off, you just unscrew it as you put it on. And it just pulls out. So that's how the flash gun works. Now as regards the filters, this is the push-on UV filter. Whoops. That just pushes onto the lens like that. Clips on lovely, and you've still got the functionality to be able to move the focus control. And then if you wanted to use the yellow filter that came with it, I suppose you could buy different colours, yellow, red, orange for black and white, and that would simply clip on like that onto the lens. It's securely fitted, and now we've got a yellow filter, a UV filter, and we've also got a lens hood. So it's really, really great how it all fits together. So I'll just remove those. Everything comes off nice and easy. Now the only area that I got really confused with this camera, some of the film speeds on some of the cameras are different. They're marked in ASA here, but these are marked in, if you can just see that there, in B.S log. Now, can you see that there? I haven't got a clue what that means, so I struggled in knowing where to set my film speed. Now, I came across this on the net after a lot of searching, and you can use this, and this shows you what the actual log number is in the film speed of your film. So I found out that if I set this film speed there, you set the film speed there with that lever to 32, we're around about 100, 125 ISO, and if we set it to there to 36, we're near enough 400 ISO. So I've got that log, I've photographed it, and I'll keep it on my phone if I need to put some more film in this camera, so I don't forget how to set the speed. Now once you set the speed at the top of the camera, we've got, I'll just turn it that way, we've got these indications of a cloudy day, of a partially cloudy, a hazy sun, and then a full sun. If you can see those there. And then to set the exposure, you first of all set your film speed, you move with those two levers at either side, you move it until the triangle part lines up with the weather conditions that you're photographing in. Also, when you've done all that, you'll see that there's at the bottom there's a green section of it. Yeah, there we go. And that corresponds to your flash. The flash distances. So, you know, the way it works is really, really, really good. So if we're out like I was, I worked between the sunny and partial shade just by moving that using Ilford FP4. And hopefully that by doing that I do get some decent exposures. Now if I was using a 400 ISO film, I'd move that lever to 36. It's actually just beyond. And you'll see now that I can't set for a partial sun and full sun, because it won't allow me to go that far. So I'd be working on a dull day. That's why they're assuming I'd put a fast film in. But I think with this camera you'd be better to use a medium speed film. Set it again to around about 32 on that S log, and then you've got all of those icons you can now move to. That's just in case you're photographing in a low lit area, and when you move that, all it's doing is altering the aperture on the lens. I don't know if you can see that. It's just making it bigger and it's making it smaller. So it's a really simple system, and really when you go out, all you've got to do is you don't take light readings, you just work on these symbols and this setting here. It's a little bit like working with the Sunny 16 rule. And then when we look at the focusing scale on the camera, you can see that it's in feet, so that's easy to understand. And then we've got it goes from 2.5 feet down to 3 feet, 3.5. They're in the close-up regions there, and then we move on from 5 feet to 15 feet is for groups, and then round about from 15 feet to 40 feet is for views, and then that's for infinity. And also on there as well, you will see that we've got, when we're moving the scale, we've got EV numbers. So if we set it to that scale, to being on the sunny icon there, the EV reading is, looking at this, is between just below 14, EV 14. Now I don't know why that's there, because I don't think you could use an actual light meter with it, or maybe you could if you set the shutter speed to what this camera is set to, but I'm not sure about that. Now the lens on this, it does look like it has got some sort of coating in it. You can see that. It's a Kodak Colorsnap lens. It says on there mount 320, so that might be for the filters, I'm not sure. It's round about 40 to 43 millimetre in focal length, so you get a nice, not too wide view, but less than 50 millimetre. I quite like the 43 millimetre. The shutter speed on this runs at 1/40th of a second, and that's the only shutter speed you've got. And the apertures, from what I've read, run from f3.5 up to f27. So that's quite a long range, is that. We've got the viewfinder window there, and that's mirrored on the back, but a lot smaller. It's not brilliant to look through, but it's adequate. You can see the whole of the scene through it. And when we look there, we've got the actual shutter button. It's not a press down one, it's a push one. Now we look at the top of the camera, we've got the film counter. You've got to reset that every time you open the back. And then at this side, this serves no real purpose, it's just a reminder of the film that you have in the camera. But this knob does. This is your rewind knob. So when you've used the film up, you press the button at the bottom there, keep it pressed down and wind that until you wind the film up. Now, so that's pretty conventional. And then if we look at the back of the camera, we've got actually a wind on lever. And then you just press the shutter to fire it. It's quite smooth, quite nice. The shutters are quiet. And also we've got a little lever there where we can do double exposures. So what you would do is you'd wind on, take the shot, and then to do a double exposure you'd move that across again, and it fires the shutter again without winding it on. So that's a handy little feature. There's nothing really else on the front of the camera. As I say, it's very, very simple to use, and there's nothing really complicated other than that log there. But I've left a thing for you to do a screenshot if you have one of these cameras, and you can then know what settings to set on that scale at the bottom. We've got a standard tripod socket. Somebody's put a sticker on there, so they've got 31 BS, that's the log, is corresponding to 100 ISO. So that's what I used. So that's correct. The chart that I'm showing you. Now to open the camera, we've got a little knob there. You can see that little knob there. To press that, it's a two-handed job. Press it, pull the lever up, and then the back opens. Then we've got the back of the camera. The only thing you need to be aware of, and I spotted that straight away, is that there's only got one seal on this camera, and it's where the door shuts. On my camera it completely corroded, there was no seal, so I've put a seal there, and to make double sure I've actually put a little bit on the door, so when it shuts now it's completely light tight. Now the same thing, now you put your film, you lift this up, put your film cassette into that side, get your wind on lever, pull your leader across, put it into the spool at this side, and then wind on until it's connected onto these sprockets. Shut the back, put the lever down, and then wind on until you come to number 1, and then set the number 1 on that dial there. So basically that's it. It's a very easy camera to work with. It's very well made, and I'm really looking forward to going out with it and seeing what I can come up with. Right guys, fully loaded Ilford FP4, and I've loaded it out my bulk loader, so I might have about 15 shots. But I'm going to go out today, just walk about and see what images I can come up with. It's very hot today, so I want to get this done fairly quickly before it does reach its maximum temperature, which they're forecasting to be around about 27 degrees, and that's just a bit too hot for me. But I'm not out for creating masterpieces, you know, images that are super sharp, that have got this beautiful out of focus. The Colorsnap 35 wasn't designed for that. It says it on the tin, it was designed for taking snaps on holiday or family members, and a camera that was easy to use for everybody really. And also to show that these old cameras nowadays, you can pick them up so cheap. I paid £10 for this, as you've seen all the stuff that I got with it, and you know, you just get a kick out of using them, and hopefully you know, capturing images. So we'll just see. I don't know until I try it, but it's all part and parcel of film photography. We don't always have to use the best cameras. We can use these cheaper snapshot cameras and just have fun with them. So I'll go out now and I'll brave this hot weather. Right, I'm out again in my local town of Otley with the Colorsnap 35mm camera by Kodak. A couple of things I have to remember using this camera. First, the shutter button is a hair trigger. It just goes off with just brushing it, so I'm going to have to be very careful with that. And the other thing I have to be careful with is the actual shutter speed itself, which is around about 30th of a second, sorry, 40th of a second, but for all I know it could be 30th, it could be 50th. So I'm just going to have to be careful when I press the shutter button not to get camera shake. So they're the two main things. The next problem I've got is finding things to photograph in this very, very bright sunlight, but I suppose it'll be a good test of this Kodak Aniston, I think it is, a lens. So we'll see how we go on. Now as I'm walking around, I'm not going to video every picture that I take because it's just going to be repetitive. We just really want to know if these cameras work and if they come up some decent pictures, and hopefully with the pictures I'm going to take that they should do. So as I say, I've got Ilford FP4 I've rated it at its box speed 125 ISO, and what I might do is just pull the development a little bit today because it is very, very bright. But first of all, I've got to find some pictures to take. Oh, now I can tell we're in Yorkshire. The Yorkshire Road. All the way down the streets. All the I don't know what you might call them, scarecrows are up again this year. Can't believe it's a year gone since I photographed last year's scarecrows. So I think I'll take 2 or 3 pictures here and see what we can get. And this time I'm going to move in closer, so I'm going to move the focus ring on the front and set it to closer focus. So I've got to really guesstimate the distances now. Right, for the final picture, this is my last picture on the roll. I'm going to take a picture of these garden ornaments from this brush because I love the textures of the ornaments themselves and the wood in the background, and I think it'll make a nice interesting picture. Now with the Kodak colour 35, if you look at the top you'll see the sun symbol on the far right, and then you'll see the next to it is a partial sun. And the difference between those two is 1 stop. So because this is in the shade, I'll set it to this setting, and that will give me 1 stop wider aperture than that one, and hopefully we'll get a decent exposure. Then I've got to set the distance. I'll probably set it to 3 foot, and hopefully get that in focus and get a nice sharp picture. Double check. 3 foot, got the exposure set right, compose, hold the camera steady. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed those pictures as I did, as much taking them. The Kodak Colorsnap 35mm camera is a great camera to use. And you know, as I said previously in the video, whether you're an amateur or you're a professional, it's not always about using your sharpest lenses, your best cameras, and trying to get a perfect image that all puts stress onto you and you're expecting to get a good picture. With these cameras, it's all about having fun, and this camera gives you in bucketfuls. And the reason it does is because it was designed for anybody to use. It's so easy. All you do is put your film in, set your film ISO, speed, and then work from the symbols at the top. Now because it was a bright sunny day when I was taking pictures, I worked between the bright sun symbol and the partial shade, and I got some really nice exposures as you have seen in the video. And then the other thing you have to remember is that there's no visual confirmation of your focusing. It's done by setting the lens, scale focusing, and you soon get used to that. Once you've got that distance, press the shutter, and I got some really nice sharp images. If you look at a couple of these, this is 100%. As you can see, they're really sharp. But I did get some pictures which I didn't bother putting on the video. They were too blurred, and some were just a little bit soft, and that's because of this hair shutter. It's a user error, it's not the camera. You only have to just slightly touch it and it fires. So what I was doing was had my finger over it, and while I'm trying to compose, and then I'm pressing the shutter inadvertently. So you have to be aware of that, just be careful. And also remember, this camera is only shooting at a slow shutter speed of 1/40th of a second, so you know you can get camera shake quite easily. The other thing is that the viewfinder that you look through at the back, it's only small, but it's perfectly adequate, but you're not seeing what the lens is seeing. There's a difference. They call that parallax error, and it's only really apparent when you get close up. So when I'm looking close up, what I'm seeing is not what the lens is seeing. To compensate for that, just compose, set your distance, compose, and just lift the camera up slightly, then take the picture, and that'll compensate for it. But other than those things, the shutter and the looking for the parallax error, the camera is just so easy and enjoyable to use. And it does what it says on the back. It's a colour snap. It's a snap camera. But it's great fun doing that, and it's very liberating to be able to go out and just point and shoot and not having to think too much. I love the sound of the wind on this camera. It's absolutely lovely. And when the shutter is fired, it's so quiet, smooth. Nobody's going to know you're taking a picture. So all in all, a great camera that you can take some really nostalgic looking pictures. So I would highly recommend this camera, and you can't go wrong for the asking price of £10. Right guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like. Better still, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll get back to you. And as I always say, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. The Kodak Colorsnap 35mm camera.